Yeah. I mean, one thing I'd like to understand is how are you able to go on these 4-hour cardio sessions, walks, when you smoke some? I mean, there's 3 packs of cigarettes
I do
on the
cardio
table
with
right now.
4 cigarettes. That's it. As I go for my hikes, 4 cigarettes. That's all I need, instead of a water bottle. And everyone watching this is laughing hard right now. I swear to God, this is not a joke. That's how I do cardio. And is it good for you? No. Cigarettes are from the government trying to kill you. They can do this with just tobacco and it'll be the same thing, but they have to add 4,000 chemicals.
Well, can't you do that with just tobacco too? Like, just buy the paper, put the tobacco
What
in
makes
it, and
you
roll
think
it.
I haven't?
The 3 boxes on the table that are out of the shot currently.
You don't think I have someone who loads these and puts them back in the box?
I wouldn't put it past you.
You've ever seen me buy a pack at 7-Eleven and then smoke it?
I don't think we've been in 7-Eleven together yet.
Might take you. You like Indians?
Pause. That sounded a little gay.
You like Apu? You want to go to 7-Eleven?
I was a fan of the character, yeah.
Me too, just not the race.
I'm a fan of the Indians too. They've never done me
Which
wrong.
people do you not like? For me, it's all of them. Black, white, blah. They're all born in a fallen state. They need to accept Christ. Zherka accepting Christ went from crook and criminal to
Crook and criminal?
with lawyers now.
I wouldn't say criminal. I haven't seen you commit any crime.
I was destructive before to everything around me. Now I'm just destructive to myself. Like, who's really being harmed besides me? Nobody. Before, I was punching people in the face for coughing on me. And here's the worst part. This was before COVID. So imagine my urge now, after COVID, when the grandma at the supermarket coughs on me, and I go, to do everything I can not to break her hip. With Christ, you can do anything. And that bitch strolled out of there, fucking, with every hair on her scalp, mint condition. God is here to reduce your sinning. Now, if I became a much more violent person after Christ, then you can say, this guy's not a Christian, this guy's a hypocrite, this guy. Can't say it when I'm fucking killing it. I'm not killing her, the grandma.
Do you ever look back at your violent past and feel a sense of shame or regret that it took you too long to find Christ? Because who knows?
No, because I worked in the nightlife. Everyone deserved it, even the guy who didn't. If he's in that club, he deserved it.
Can you elaborate on that?
The who's in nightclubs, fucking sleazeballs and dirtbags, rapists and molesters and people drugging people, and even the good guys at the club. And I'd see this, I'd just be like this, just guarding the door outside, boop, 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 music playing, and there would be a babe coming out like a wounded gazelle, drunk as fuck, stumbling to the car and without her friends, right? So this one left the herd. And all the nice guys, all the non-crooks, needed to go talk to her. They were fiending to get her in a cab and take her home. And that's the first time I didn't get fired for fucking someone up. And I was imagine the good businessmen who are not the gangsters. That's a rapist. You just loaded language. You're gonna call me like, oh, you're overreacting. If you start drooling, and I'm not saying, if you're drooling for her to get her home when she's that fucked up, that's normal. That's sin. That you look at tits, you want to grab tits that are not yours. Yeah, I get the impulses, right? But when you act on it and you try and convince yourself, no, I'm not gonna touch her. Even if you don't touch her, if you stay by her bedside and make sure she don't puke. Nigga, you a stranger in her house. You had every other fucking thought of taking her back to her friends or talking to a security guard, getting her to the security in front of the cameras, Who are your friends? We grab your friends. You don't leave. Worst case scenario, we call the cops. We drunk tank this bitch. Every single million ideas you can have to guard that bitch, they're all null and void because you need to do it yourself, and you're not the most capable. So what are you trying to do? It's you're gambling with being a rapist. You're gambling with taking on that identity. And when you see good men, normal men, non-gangsters, I mean, actually, a lot of the gangsters were like, no, this is actually kind of weird. But I think gangsters obviously would do it too. When you see this, every time someone says to me, nah, you got a weird impression about humanity because you worked at a nightclub, just saw sleazeballs and all that. No, there's people who are never in the club. It's like they're here for a birthday once a year, and even they would try and, like women at low HP drinking, men get aroused by this, right? And I think all men get aroused, like maybe 10%, 20, but most men, 60, 70%, that's your good guys. And then you point to me and go, well, Zherka, I mean, can you see me ever going in that fucking car? Even when I was like not God-fearing, I always felt like I'm being watched.
I think you'd just be annoyed by her and want to stay away.
Yeah. Or I'd get lucky and she chokes on her vomit and dies. It's like, yeah, add to the kill list. That's a joke. But there are no good people, man. Go to the library, go anywhere.
So do you
think
good
people were at the peak of Christian theocracy? That's the last time we saw good people.
Do you think the problem was the environment that turned these people like that weren't usually at the club, or do you think they were just like that?
Environment affects nature because ancestral DNA your ancestors' traumas are passed down to you.
I think they
Did
call
you
that
know
like
that
epigenetics or
your great-great-great-grandfather, he went through a heartbreak identical to the one you had with Sally, but you'll never know. He didn't tell anyone about it.
I don't think that's true, though, because, our great-grandparents, it was a better time. They meet a woman, maybe they're 15,
You don't think that's
16,
true?
and
No.
they stay together their whole life.
Do you have the genetic traits of your parents?
Absolutely.
Do you have the flaws of your parents?
Some, yeah.
Those flaws are so hard to overcome that if your great-grandfather had a drinking problem, you're probably going to have one. If your dad had a drinking problem, it might not be drinking. You might like Cheetos and be obese, but you still want that quick dopamine reward system. Your ancestors' problems loop and reoccur. Your job is to stop all the loops. That's when you find yourself in a suit and tie like Kevin Samuels, and hopefully married. I don't know, he wasn't married, but married and living a normal life. That's why I say, me going from the darkest satanic motherfucking practicing all sorts of non-ordinary states and meditation at a Rosicrucian temple when I worked for these businessmen, and just practicing their backwards review and reflection and meditation and just all the Rosicrucian practices. But I was around Satanists, and I didn't take them serious. They were broke, these ones. I only took the fucking businessmen who were making a lot of money. Those Satanists were real. There's Luciferians. I thought that was like, what the fuck? You guys just like to read those intellectual books. There was all sorts of these kind of people in the club. And these guys were the smart ones. And the dumb ones were just called gangsters. They didn't read any books. But the high-level gangsters, they use occult sciences to manipulate their way to the top. A gangster businessman is mafia. A gangster broke guy, it's a mafia. It's the same shit. It's just gangster. The difference is reading. You give an evil mind a book and he enjoys it, he has a higher capacity to spread evil now. All of this, I went from all this evil to Christ. Am I locked up right now? Is there a case against me? No, just you want me to be a Christian more than I want to be a Christian. That's the truth. For me, it's hard. It's hard to clean up your life. And you're a Muslim. You're a Muslim admitting you want me to be a Christian more than a Muslim.
I mean, you just called me Jewish last time.
It's all the same shit.
The only thing you haven't called me is a Christian.
Not yet.